Yes guys, what is up? Welcome back to some more F1 My Team here today, and this is the Singapore Grand Prix. Now in today's episode there is a very strong chance we could secure the Constructors Championship, both myself and George, and we could do it for the first time ever in our team's history, so that would be an absolutely massive milestone if we could achieve it. But before we do so, if you missed the previous episode guys, at Monza, the last of the European races, then go check it out. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of your screen, and to be fair, that video done pretty well. And along with that video I'm going to also plug yesterday's video guys, and for those of you that don't know, yesterday there was an update to the F1 game which updated the Formula 2 cars to the 2020 spec and drivers as well, so you guys can now race the actual 2020 Formula 2 season. So yeah, give that a watch, let me know what you think, and also hopefully you guys are going to enjoy today's episode. If you do, slap a like on it, subscribe if you're new guys. I'm trying to hit as many subs as possible by the end of the year. I want to try and really maximize the rest of these last 3 weeks before 2020 is over, so any help would be massively appreciated, and let's get the Singapore Grand Prix weekend underway. Another day, another episode, and once again on the laptop. Now first of all, the weather forecast says it's going to be dry this weekend, which is great. We then look at the R&D graph and we bring some ultimate upgrades, along with Mercedes who bring some pretty strong upgrades themselves, and also AlphaTauri. You can't quite see it because of the colour, but they are bringing some upgrades and they've taken a big step forward as the third quickest team, along with a few other minor ones there for Racing Point and McLaren. So quite a bit of movement in terms of the updates this weekend, but crucially we stay on top and respond to Mercedes' push in terms of trying to close the gap. You know, Mercedes know the Constructors is up for grabs this weekend and they're trying all they can, but luckily we're prepared and we have, you know, the upgrades in store to try and keep them behind. Now we move into practice, and more specifically FP2, because FP1 was rained out, and you know, in the rain there's no point because there's no data to collect really. So we did FP2 and we went top and fastest along with Russell, who was in second place, and it looks great for us. It's looking on us. We look really quick. We score over 1,000 R&D points after practice, and we start off the weekend in the best way possible, and I'm looking forward to it. So with that we head into qualifying, and again no rain expected, so a very straightforward session about to come up. And you guys know the drill by now around here. This is probably the strongest track for me all season long. You know, we've had our races recently where the AR have been pretty strong, especially Silverstone, but this track is the one for me. So I am looking to hopefully, you know, have no surprises and have a very routine race weekend. So jumping into qualifying, this was my first time lap of the session, and to be honest, it was a very strong first banker. Really on the pace from the get-go. The car felt great across the line, and we set a 1:30.4, so already right on the pace, and we go top of the timesheets by half a second over George Russell. We now move on to my second run, and this was my best run of qualifying, so let's see what the lap was, and I'll get back to you when the lap is finished. And there we go, across the line. We improved by nearly 0.4 of a second, a 1:30.0, and we extend our lead out front, and that is a real cruncher of a lap now. On the final run, I was actually up in the first two sectors, only by the smallest amount, and there wasn't really a mistake. I just wasn't able to take the final sector as quickly as I did on the previous lap, and in the end we didn't quite improve, and the best we could do is match our lap time. But luckily for us, nobody else really improved that much. Russell secures second place, and it's pretty convincing for 97 Martini Racing. Stroll in third for AlphaTauri with the new upgrades. They're looking pretty strong. And then both Mercedes 4th and 5th, and Fiat P6. So the top 3 teams locking out the top 3 rows on the grid, and then you've got both Ferraris and both Red Bulls behind them. So a pretty standard grid, but crucially it's a 1-2 for us, and we're ahead of Mercedes. So as it stands, we're looking good to wrap up the Constructors title, and overall a flawless qualifying from us, and good to be back on top because we've had a pretty rough run lately and Russell's been on form, so it's good to respond. In terms of the rivalry, we extend our lead over Hamilton by a point, and also some very small gains to the Acclaim. But guys, that's going to be it for qualifying here today, and we're now going to move into a potential Constructors title clinching race for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula One returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging Grand Prix. It's a 3.1 mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and the 10 rights of mostly slow corners, but we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Martinez lines up on pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Stroll, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton and Kvyat, Leclerc, Vettel, Albon and Max Verstappen. Magnussen, Gasly, Sergio Perez and Ocon, Aitken, Sainz, Nick de Vries and Roman Grosjean. Giovinazzi, Latifi, Schumacher and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
It's time, guys, for the Singapore Grand Prix. We start from P1 and pole position, and of course you guys know the drill by now. Around here we've been pretty damn quick in the past, and you know, we've been probably the most dominant car and driver around this track in a long time, so I am expecting a fairly routine race. But then again, that could change if we have a bad start or we get overtaken into turn 1, and you know, possible safety cars, VSCs, because of the strategy around here, we could get screwed over. Now, the first thing we're going to do today is go quite long. So we're going to make the first stint really long, as long as possible, basically, because if you pit early off the soft tyres, you're going to feed out into traffic, and that's going to kind of ruin your race. And it's going to give those guys on the one stop, on the mediums or the hards, a big advantage. So the longer you go on the first stint, the better, whilst maintaining a strong pace. Fuel-wise, I've underfueled by half a lap. So the target is simple: hit the front, pull away, and get a gap. Simple as that. So yeah, let's see how it goes, and fingers crossed at the end of it we are going to be the winners of the Singapore Grand Prix. Alright, let's see what kind of start we get as we build the revs up to the 5 red lights. Lights out, away we go. Nice start, but actually Russell gets off to a great start himself, and into turn 1 we're going to try and fight him back around the outside. Russell's still there, but we've got the better line, and we're going to just traction up better than George and retake P1 for now as we head into turn 4. Let's see what the traction is like out of here. That's perfect, and I think we should have enough to stay in front of our teammate. Even though my straight line speed is a bit low this weekend, I think we've got enough. Yep. Don't worry, Jeff. It's all part of the plan. So crucially, we stayed ahead there at the end of the straight. Russell was closing in quite rapidly, but main thing is we're still P1 and Russell's still second, which is great. And actually both AlphaTauri's running in P3 and P4, so Mercedes having a bit of a poor start again. So let's see now if we can try and pull away and stretch these guys. Ideally, hopefully Russell can follow me and pull away with me. That would really help us out as a team, because we could wrap up the Constructors in the next couple of races. So I want to try and secure that bag first as we lock up into the hairpin, and then we'll focus on the Drivers' Championship. But so far, so good as we pretty much end lap 1 here in this race. End of lap 2. We're flying. DRS will now be enabled, but we're 3 seconds clear of Russell.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
So at the minute we're chilling. Russell is almost a second clear of Stroll as well, so hopefully he can pull that off and we can both get on with our race. But at the minute we're already establishing an early lead here and pulling away from the pack, which is very important, so let's try and keep it up. Looks like we're going to set another fastest lap here on this lap. There we go, 35.0, gap now to 4.5 seconds. Russell has broken DRS of the car behind, so at the minute we're running comfortably, both of us. And this result is massive for the constructors because Mercedes are not really where they need to be, so this is working out good for us. We're also saving a bit of fuel already, trying to get back on target, so fuel strategy has worked out well for us. We've got a few cars starting to pit. Kvyat pit on that last lap. Gap to Russell now over 10 seconds as we're still pushing here. The quicker we go, the better our chances are, and I'm going to try and stretch this to a 1-stop and go straight to the hard tyres. That's the best way to go around here, so Russell pits, there we go.
George is coming in for his stop.
We're going to try and go for a few more laps, maybe until lap 9, and then we'll put on the hard tyres. We've got all the guys behind on medium tyres, so they're going on for the 1-stop. I'm staying out a bit longer because if I can stretch that gap to Perez to above 25 seconds, we should be okay to actually rejoin in the race lead. So that's why this strategy is important. You know, going long and making these tyres work is going to really benefit you in career mode around here. So that's what we're trying to go for. Lap 9 or 10, we're going to pit. Okay, here we go. We're going to box this lap. 10 laps on soft tyres plus the qualifying laps we did. That's enough for these tyres, and tyre wear is not really a factor, it's just a lack of grip. The tyres just lose performance and it feels like you're driving on ice rather than outright tyre wear. It's also very easy to overheat, but into the pit lane we go. Push in as much as we can. Bit close there to lose the back end, but there we go into the pits. Gap to Perez, 28.4, so we pulled away even more. Tyre wear, as you can see, is okay. Right rear 57%, which is perfectly manageable. And the temperatures were on point, so everything's gone well so far. We're going to box now for the hard tyres and go to the end of the race, converting to a 1-stop strategy.
Go now.
2.4, good stop as well, and we should rejoin in P1. I don't think we're going to get overtaken here, so we should be fine.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
And there we go, job done. Perez just going through turn 1 and 2 now, so we're out ahead by about 3 seconds. So like I said, that 25-second margin is more or less right, maybe 26 seconds. But job done. Back out in P1, we can now get on with it. Target this race is I fancy lapping everyone. I want to do that again, so I'm going to be pushing flat out like I have been so far this race. So let's try and pull away from the guys behind, because technically Perez will be the net race leader at the end of all the pit stops. So we've got a lot of work to do, so let's crack on with it. Getting straight to work on these tyres, which are pretty decent actually, as we're going to set a new personal best and fastest lap into the 134s. And the gap to Perez almost 10 seconds. I'm trying to push as much as I can before they pit, because their tyres are going to be a bit more worn at this stage. So any time we can gain on them now is going to be critical. Okay, Russell up to P2, as most of the 1-stoppers have now gone into the pit lane. So let's see what kind of pace George has. He's got the AlphaTauri still behind him. So this could be interesting for second place, but for us, obviously, we're cruising out front. Just going to keep pushing at this stage. Looks like the AI are in for their second stop. We just had Hamilton in the pit lane and Kvyat as well. So I'm expecting Russell in this lap along with Stroll. Looks like Russell and Stroll are staying out for just a bit longer and not pitting yet. There we go, Russell pits.
George is in the pits. George in the pits.
And I'm expecting Stroll, Vettel and Bottas to all pit with him, I think. Okay, there we go then. So Perez does reclaim P2. He rejoins, or should I say Russell rejoins just behind Perez. So there's the gap, 53 seconds to the nearest car, and everyone now has completed their pit stops. Russell and Perez battling away, and I think Russell has got that one done, so there it is, 1-2 for us as a team. Happy days. Oh, Kvyat out of the race for AlphaTauri. He was running pretty high up, but it looks like they've lost the car, and there's going to be no safety car, I think, or VSC from that, which is good because that would otherwise ruin all my progress, so I'm happy with that. Oh, okay, Russell takes away my fastest lap. To be fair, he's driving pretty quick. He's pulling away from Perez and he's faster than me at the minute, so that medium tire's working well for him as we're now starting to approach traffic. So let's see how this goes. Blue flags now for Sainz and this Williams. Let's see if they get out of the way. Sainz does. Will the Williams proceed as well? Through the final corner, chucking the car in there. And there we go, the Williams gets out of the way as well. We've got a Red Bull in the pits, so we pass an extra car for good measure. Now we've got a Haas and a Williams, I believe, just in front here. Let's see if they get out of the way. Hopefully I'll try and clear one of them on this back straight if I can get the run through here. Come on, Haas, get out of the way, son. Move to one side, please. There we go. Lovely stuff. And just the Williams remains. As we set a purple first sector. Williams, there we go. Job done. Looks like we are going to set a new personal best on this lap. I don't think it's going to be a new fastest lap though. Oh, okay, it is. There we go. Lovely stuff. So we do reclaim that back for now. And we'll score the extra point as we're now about to hit a huge train of traffic here. Well, we're approaching a bit more traffic, which features both Ferraris and both Mercedes cars. So let's see if they get out of the way. That would be nice. We're closing in on that top 5 now. You can see Gasly 1 minute 20 behind, so he's not too far up the road. But we're not going to lap everyone today. That was the target, unfortunately. It's not going to happen. Fuel's okay, so I don't really need reminding Jeff. But yeah, we don't have the pace to really lap everyone today, which is a bit of a shame. But you know what, we're still going to lap a good chunk of cars here today. And that one time we did do it in the, I believe, the driver career mode. That was pretty damn historic, but I don't think we're going to repeat that feat again. A bit more traffic here as Hamilton gets out of the way. There we go. That's that one done. Bit more traffic again. Ferrari and McLaren getting held up there by Vettel. I had to hit the brakes as he kind of brake checked me on the exit, and that's going to allow the Mercedes to get through. We just about avoid that. I think someone's had an issue behind. I think. I just heard the OK clear message, which means someone behind us had an issue. We'll get confirmation on that in a minute. I might have been, yeah, there we go.
Safety car,
oh wow.
Safety car. No overtaking, reduce your pace.
Okay, interesting. So what we will do then in that case
we can take you this lap.
Is pit for soft tyres. May as well. Going to get those soft selected, and we're going to box this lap. We've got plenty space behind to get this one done, and it covers us off for the restart. So into the pit lane we go. Get it all slowed down, no need to speed, and there we go. Job done, no risks. I don't know why, but I had a feeling there was going to be a late safety car anyway. I was kind of ready for it mentally. So even if we'd done the hard work and we was on course to lap the whole field, I knew there was going to be a safety car to screw us over. So let's get some soft tyres on and crack on with the rest of our race.
Go, go, go.
There we go, 2.3. Great stop from the boys. Let's get back on the way here, and looks like there's a few more lap cars going by.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
I'm going to go a little bit slow on purpose to let these lap guys go by, because then I haven't got to worry about them on the restart. So there we go. I think that's all the lap traffic done. Actually, no, there's one more car through turn 1, but oh well, too slow. Let's pick up the safety car here then. Let's see. There we go. Okay, it's time for the restart. The safety car only lasted 1 lap, so a very quick one. And to be fair, only Russell has been able to catch up to the back of us here, so let's see how the safety car restart goes. Times are a bit cold, but nonetheless, away we go. Nice, clean, tidy restart. Oh no, maybe not. The game there throttling me as always, but we're away. Right, 2 laps to go. Let's bring this one home. We're going to set a new fastest lap in the process, hopefully as well. Here we go, penultimate lap, and it's going to be a new fastest lap as we smash it. And this should easily pick up the extra point. There we go, across the line. 32.1. Now let's just bring this one home, last lap of the race. Here we go then, guys, through the final few corners. And even though the safety car changed it on paper, it's been one of the more dominant races of the season, if not the most dominant. But here we go, through the final corner, and we cruise to victory at Singapore. Get in there.
That's a race win. You've really been great today.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
Well, there we go then, guys. That is it. Race win and fastest lap here today at Singapore, picking up maximum points. And it's a 1-2 for the team. And with Mercedes dropping down the order on a two-stop strategy, I believe we have officially secured the Constructors' Championship here today. Lance Stroll joins us on the podium ahead of Sergio Perez, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Sebastian Vettel, Nick De Vries, Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz scoring the final point. Hamilton misses out on the points along with Leclerc, Albon, Giovinazzi, Verstappen, Schumacher, Norris, Grosjean, Latifi, Aitken and then Magnussen and Kvyat, who retired from the race. So in terms of the driver standings, we are 63 points clear of car number 63 once again. So we do extend the lead over Russell and our first win in I believe 3 or 4 races. So finally we respond to George Russell's kind of title charge in a way. Looking at the Constructors though, the gap is 272 points, which is now completely irreversible for those guys. So we are officially Constructors champions. So there you go. I didn't think we'd do it today, but it's happened and I'm very happy with that, and we can now focus entirely on the Drivers' Championship and the gloves are off. But guys, that's it for the race here at Singapore. We're now going to move into the main menu.
It doesn't get much better than a win at this track, does it?
Well, I think Singapore is, a great venue. I think, it's been on the calendar for a little while, has a bit of history, but I think, there's other venues that I'd like to win out for sure, but this is still a great one. And yeah, I think first of all the team deserves a lot of credit, and that's really, really important.
It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this to change?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not, thinking too heavily about the championship. I'm just going race by race. But you can see, the last 4 races have shown that you can still push. George has pushed me a lot, and up until today, I managed to get some extra points on him. But before that, he was, catching me up. So, there's always some things to change.
Your team dominated the race today. Was it the car or the teamwork? What's the secret to your success?
I think it's just the teamwork, everyone working together, and that makes a great car. But the teamwork you can't beat.
Well, looks like your luck has changed. Things went a lot better than last weekend, didn't they?
They did. We had a much stronger race. I think we knew this was going to be a strong race for us, but we've definitely, worked on certain areas of the car, and it seems to have worked out for us, especially on the aerodynamics, which is great.
Great. Well, that's everything.
There we go then. After the race, we once again outscore Lewis Hamilton, and we've now got quite a nice lead over him as we try to close out the rivalry, hopefully in the next episode. In terms of Acclaim, a pretty solid day for both myself and George as we make even more progress. But of course at this stage, like I mentioned before, there's not going to be much changing now realistically until the end of the season. And then finally, in terms of cash bonuses, a full payout from every single one of our sponsors as we hit all of the targets. And then also in terms of extras, we also get a full payout when it comes to bonuses. So a flawless weekend all round, and that takes us above $40 million. Here we go then, back on the main menu. First of all, we've got to renew some sponsors, and I'm more than happy to stick with these guys now until the end of the season, so we'll go ahead and renew those. The next race is at Russia, so we are going to quickly throw on some reaction training there for George, and then we move over to the R&D tab. Now, looking at the options we have available, I am going to go for a cheeky little engine upgrade. I feel like we're, long overdue one of those, so we are going to go for a ultimate upgrade for the ERS that should arrive before the Japanese Grand Prix, so hopefully there's no issues with that. And with that said, we can now skip ahead to the next race in Russia. And yeah, we go again in the next one. But if you enjoyed today's episode, then slap a like on it, guys. Subscribe for more daily F1 content and my team, which is every other day on the channel. I've got some big things lined up, guys, so do get subscribed for that. As also, guys, check out the final 2 videos on your screen right now if you haven't seen them already. Give them a chance. Let me know what you think, especially the Formula 2 video, which went down really, really well. And yeah, guys, that's going to be it from me here today. And I'll see you in my next one very soon. But until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.